Good morning. Good morning. Are we live? I think we are. Looks like we got some audio. How you guys doing today? Jay Waz, good morning. Patrick, good morning. I just took one trade so far today. Just before I jumped on the stream, we had a bull flag breakout set up. I entered as per the rules in the playbook. Well, sort of. I didn't enter on the candle close. I got a better entry by trying to enter on the 8. And right after I got in, we ticked down below the delta and closed back under the 8. So I pulled the plug. So small loss there. That's actually a delta squeeze setup. But this was pushing so hard on this initial run there. I didn't really feel too comfortable going short, but then right when I opened the stream just now, looks like it printed another one. So this might be a short opportunity right here, but it's like 13 minutes before the open. I don't think I really want to take that at this point. We definitely have some chop setting in on the delta already. G2, good morning. Let's go ahead and look at the news for today. I know yesterday when we looked at it, it didn't look like we really had very much going on today. News expired, so I got to refresh the page. There we go. Jolt's job openings at 9, so in about 42 minutes. PMI or ISM services PMI along with job openings, it looks like. And then tomorrow we got non-farm employment change at 7:15, unemployment at 7:30. And FOMC meeting minutes at 1. So that might explain a little bit about why yesterday was kind of sideways chop day. Maybe today will be the same. We will see. Just put in a second lower high on that delta. Well, if there's two of them, two's usually better than one. I'm going to try to see if I can get picked up on that. I think I'm too late, though. Raphael, good morning. Yeah, I think I missed the boat on that one. Too busy looking at the news. So go ahead and cancel that order. But this was the entry right here. That lower high, we got a negative delta right there. We'll go ahead and simulate that one and pretend that we were watching the screen when it printed. If I was in that at this point, I would have my stop at break even. Only because we are in somewhat of an uptrend here. So you're kind of going against the trend. We're down to the 50. We got the anchored VWAP sitting here at 767.50. We have the standard VWAP all the way down here at 744. I'm going to try something a little different today with the higher time frames. Instead of tagging these as bullish or bearish based off of the relation of the delta to the confirmation line, I'm going to do it based off of the signal line alone. So if the signal line is ticked up on the hourly, I'm just going to call that bullish. If it's ticked down, I'm going to call it bearish. We'll do the same for the 15. And I'm going to do the same for the 5-minute. Let's just see if that feels any different today. I know JWAS likes to take trade in the direction of the signal on the 5-minute. And he's been doing pretty good lately, so I kind of want to check that out. All right, we just ticked up from that lower power zone. If I was in the trade that short, I probably would have pulled the plug there. Looks like I would have got almost 10 points out of it. We did not take that trade, so go ahead and delete that. JWAS says, trading in the direction of the 5-minute means I don't take some of the 1-minute entries you would normally take. Yes. It does act as somewhat of a filter. And if you could take less trades and have a higher win rate, then there's nothing wrong with that. There's our 825 algorithm pop. Okay, John, good morning. So if you were JWAS right now, what would you be doing? You would be looking for short, right? So the 5 minute is ticked down. And what I'm currently looking for is our step number 2 to this delta cross that we just had. So that's step number 1. So as long as the delta can stay under that confirmation line, we can get the signal to pull up here and tick down somewhere around that upper power zone. As long as the delta is still weak and that happens, I'm going to take it short. It might not set up, but I got my eyes on it. Yes, and I know you don't like to take those market open trades. I have been kicking myself lately when I don't take the trades. So if I see something set up, I think I'm still going to take it. Got about 2 minutes for the market open. For some reason, I don't think we're going to get that short set up. I think the delta's already starting to gain some strength. Right before the market open, I could see it pop to the upside, and if that happens, it's going to get big and fat probably. That tick up from the lower power zone would have been a good entry. I probably should have taken that. I didn't because we were crossing under the confirmation line. We did take out that London high. So this being a liquidity sweep could potentially still be on the table. Got about 20 seconds. And the market popped before it opened. starting to put in that tick down. Delta is, it's like on the verge of crossing above the confirmation line. Tried to sell off, but it popped back up. I went short there on that tick down. I'm short from 768.25. 86, sorry. 86.25. That was the setup I was looking for. I ticked down near the upper power zone after that delta cross. Go ahead and target VWAP on this one. There we go. At 37.25 on that one. Which brings me to 31.5. That right there is one of my favorite setups. JWAS hears me say that a lot. And it is still dropping. We're underneath VWAP at this point. Those delta candles are big and fat. That's what we like around here. I kind of wish I didn't take profit there now. Yeah, from a cumulative delta perspective, it has not signaled any reason to exit. So if anyone's still in that short, I would probably hold on to it. You know, with the delta dropping as hard as it is, and once it starts closing under the halfway point, if I was in there, I would probably end up just waiting for a close above the delta to exit. And hopefully that'll just continue on down near the lower power zone and get a nice big short out of it. We'll see if we react to VWAP here and turn back down. Looks like it ended up kissing VWAP perfectly right here at 748. Dropped again. That wouldn't have been a bad entry. You know, anytime the delta candles are big and fat in one direction like that, then you can catch a falling knife or a rising knife with a little more confidence. So targeting the VWAP or the 8 is usually a good entry. Still dropping hard. Those delta candles are getting fatter. We are now down to this lower pivot line. Still dropping. You got a little bullish divergence with this higher low in that lower power zone. Might get a little bit of a pullback here. JWAS, your 5-minute signal line was right on the money there. The short was where it was at. We did not take out the London session low, by the way, in case you're curious. The Asian session low, I'm going to go ahead and mark that off. It's way down here at 659. So far, it's looking like it wants to V-bottom right out of here. Four-hour Heikin Ashi candles on NQ are dojis. Yeah. I'm not surprised after yesterday was kind of a flat day. Let's check out the 4-hour chart. We never look at the 4-hour here. On the 4-hour, we got a bull flag. We're also right up there in that upper power zone, which is kind of a dangerous place to try to go long when the delta's in the bottom half. Not that that matters too much for the 1 minute. Yeah, I would call that a V-bottom. Looks like that that higher low was where it was at on the long there. You know, I tell myself this all the time, to take the first higher low after a drop or the first lower high after a quick rise. That has a relatively high win rate. It's just always kind of scary to do when you have those fat candles. You know, you're definitely going against the stream. But it seems to work pretty well. So in this case, That would have been, it's ran about 68 points since then. The 4 hour, it's bumping into a downwards trend line. Yeah, I can see that. We're kind of right on that trend line. So yeah, maybe we consolidate here and make another run up, create a big W, or we reject and fall back and take out the low. Well, it didn't spend too much time underneath VWAP there, so I would say that's kind of bullish. With the news tomorrow, like I said earlier, today could be more of a range day too. Let's go ahead and put in our 15-minute range in here. You know what's interesting is on the 4 hour, I put that trend line in there. This yellow trend line. And on the 1 minute, that's exactly where we bounced. Right here. Five minute, we're ticking up now, so I'm going to flip that to bullish with our new process today. Yeah, you know, normally on a drop like this with those fat delta candles, normally this would continue down and do something like this. And so earlier when I said if I was in there, I'd be waiting for the delta cross. Usually you can push that all the way to like this area to where you finally exit and get a nice big trade out of that. But with these V bottoms, that definitely complicates things. I don't like V bottoms at all. let's assume that I never got out of that trade. And let's just see where I would have been if we exited on that delta cross. So I would have been right here at 843. Looks like that would have been exactly the same amount. I got 30, well, almost. I got 37 and a quarter on that trade. But if I waited on the delta cross, it would have been 37 and a half. Would have been a quarter of a point better. Schroden. Oh, I said we were going to do a little experiment today. JWAS has been doing pretty good following the 5-minute signal line. So he's basically trading in the direction of the 5-minute signal. So if the 5-minute signal is ticked down, he's looking for shorts. If it's ticked up, he's looking for longs. So today I decided to do an experiment and see what it would feel like if instead of flipping the higher time frames from bullish to bearish based off of the delta in relation to the confirmation line, instead of doing that, I'm flipping it based off of the signal line alone. So if the signal is ticked up on the 5, I'm just going to flip it bullish, and if it's ticked down, I'm going to flip it bearish, regardless of where the delta is. And I'm doing the same for the 15 and the same for the hourly. So just a slightly different process than I'm used to, but I just want to see what that feels like. As far as the entries on the 1, it's not really changing anything for me over there. It's just kind of changing my bird's eye perspective. Well, it is looking like it's trying to reject up there. We didn't quite make it to the power zone, but that's our second tick down in the red zone. Yeah, news in 5, so I was expecting a little bit of sideways action before that. Back to the higher time frames that we were just talking about. If you think about that, if you change your bias based off of the delta in relation to the confirmation line, that's more of like a, I guess, an overall bias. If you're using the signal, I guess that's more of like a shorter term immediate bias. But I mean, they both, I think, have significance. And you know what would be nice is if Zeiierman ever does add a feature that allows you to, print something on the screen that says whether you're bullish or bearish on a specific time frame, it would be nice if there was a setting in there where you could just change that to like a longer term or a shorter term. The longer term being the delta in relation to the confirmation line, and the shorter term being the signal line. Or maybe it just prints both on the screen. I think that would be really helpful. That second tick down at 8:54. I was right here. Looks like that would have been a nice winner. We are ticking down on the 5. I'm going to go ahead and flip that to bearish again. This is actually that's the cross and the tick down under a falling delta, so that's pretty bearish on the 5. If it'll lock in here in 1 minute, I'm assuming it will. I can tell news is coming up because the spread is getting wider. And here we go. Whew. And she slams it down. Yeah, that 5 minute was right on the money. And JWaz, you hear me say this a lot, but with news events, if you get a signal right before a news event, it's usually right on the money. Same thing with the open. I look at the open the same as I look at news events. If you get a signal right before the open, it's usually a winner. Yeah, looking back, that would have been a great short right there. We got our delta cross. The delta tries to climb back up here. It just barely makes it over that confirmation line, but it's still weak. And when it's weak and you get that second tick down in that red zone after that cross, this is basically a very similar setup to the one we originally went short on. And so if the news wasn't coming up there, normally I would go ahead and take that. But the more and more I see those play out, even with news events, the more I kick myself for not taking those. Yeah, delta on the 5 is massive. And once that train leaves the station, it's hard to jump on. Our Forex ATR is sitting at a 108 right now. Very easy to get run over if you try to jump on the train. I'm going to go ahead and circle that just because that's where we should have entered, right there. And we did take out the Asian session low now. That's this red line. And if I was in this short, this one I would definitely take until the delta cross or a delta squeeze setup to the upside. Just because it looks like the 5 is just getting started. The party's just getting started on the 5 and on the 15. On the hourly, we're ticking down now as well. On the hourly, I'm going to go ahead and flip that to bearish. It's not confirmed until 10 o'clock, so maybe I shouldn't do that until it's confirmed. And if we go back to our 4-hour trend line, we are now underneath that trend line. So it does look like we're breaking down from that. But maybe it's temporary because we're also, looks like we just kissed the 20 EMA. Which is also the 50 EMA on the 4-hour. So we could find some support there and then bounce back over the trend line. We will see. Somebody's impersonating me already? Weird. Yeah, if you guys get like a friend request from me, it is likely not me, so do not accept it. Be very skeptical. I don't go around Discord friend requesting people. JWAS, what group was it in? Is it the Zeiierman group? Oh, or was it no group? Yeah, that's typically what I do as well. When I get a friend request, I check to see mutual servers, and if there are none, I delete. Nope, stealth, not me. Don't send me any money, please. That would be very bad. Like I said, the bad part of these big moves, if you're not on the train, it is hard to just watch it keep falling. It's hard to get on that train. Especially when the ATR is sitting at a 126, 127, 128 now. My 80 tick stop is going to look tiny on here. Watch this. Look at that. It doesn't even cover half a candle. JWAS, impulse tick down on one worked. Right here, you mean, at 906? Yeah, I know. I saw that too. It's just, I've been getting burned on those lately, so I'm not too excited about taking that particular setup. Yeah, when the delta is big and fat like this, that is usually when those work out. If the delta is, if it's thin or if it's just kind of average, it's usually not a good idea to take those. In this case, let's see how far it ran if you did take it. So you would have been in here. Your 80 tick stop would have worked, and it ran a total of 58 points since then. So if you're looking for, 30 points or something like that, that definitely would have worked. Stealth, second tick up. Yeah, we are flashing a second tick up, but when the delta has dropped so hard and it's like getting in that lower power zone, I would stay away from that. There's just too much momentum, and usually it takes a long time to put the brakes on. So I'd stay away from the longs. You might be able to get a winner out of it, but it's kind of risky. Got a nice big engulfing candle setting in now. So if you wanted to try a long, you could try jumping in on the 8. That would be safer. And you would have got tagged in right there if you were jumping in on the 8. I'm going to stay away from that for now. But that could be a nice little move right there. Nice thing about the 8 is that you have an objective way to exit if it doesn't work out. Like if it closes under the 8, pull the plug. So like right there, I would have pulled the plug just because it closed under. So usually that's a tiny loss. So if you're just, if you're looking at it from a risk perspective, it's not that risky. Because usually if you're going to lose that trade, it's going to be a tiny loss. JWAS says if 5-minute delta stays fat and 1-minute delta pulls up and curls over under the confirmation line with a 1-minute tick down, also in the red zone, that's a short for me coming up. Yeah, that's a short for me too. Sometimes with these really strong moves, you might not even get the signal in the red zone. It could stay down there in the green zone for a long time. And continually put in tick downs and turn more into a grindy, sustained trend to the downside, which is not my favorite. BTC massive candle sell-off. Uh-oh. Whew. Yes, that is a massive candle sell-off. And what do you see? You got a delta squeeze right before the sell-off right here at 3 a.m. Boom. Too bad I can't short crypto, or I'd be all over that. Notice how he had a delta cross here in that lower power zone, but the delta is still relatively thick. If I was short, I would be waiting for that, for a thin delta cross. And I might actually just wait for a delta squeeze with that type of momentum. So with the squeeze, Remember, you need a positive slope on the delta, relatively thin delta, and the signal to come up, tick down, and tick up above a rising delta. That's your delta squeeze. Also, I should point this out. Do you see all the space between here and the confirmation line? That's usually not a good sign for a delta squeeze. Delta squeeze is better if the delta continues over here somewhere and that confirmation line continues to fall, and the tighter and the closer that these get together, the better your delta squeeze will be. So you want those to start to try to converge there. D-Maker, you can short, remember? Oh, yeah. Yeah, with that special ID. Do you actually do that? Legal backdoor trick. And are you sure that's legal? I guess I don't know. I'm too scared to do something like that. Because all my crypto, I traded my Roth IRA. So I'd be kind of scared to jeopardize that. Well, if it's legal, maybe I'll do it. Here's the first higher low with bullish divergence that we've had in the lower power zone since that drop. Could be a little pullback coming. Yep, everything is dropping. Crypto. And NQ. First tick up on the 3-minute, Stealth says. Let's check out the 3. Oh yeah, but notice your big fat delta. You don't want to trade against that. Too much momentum. You want to wait for it to kind of flatten out and settle down a bit. It's going to take a while to put the brakes on. Jobs number infers the economy is not as good as hoped. So risking off. You know, the other day I was just talking to my dad about how I thought January was going to be a down month. And I forgot why we were talking about that. What was I looking at? Was I looking at the SPY? Oh, I think this was it. We had a delta squeeze on the daily on the SPY. On December 17th. Looks like gold is down too. JWA says, let's observe how there's some first upward movement here on NQ. Just as the 5-minute is showing green. Yeah, the delta on the 1 is positive. We're ticking up from the lower power zone on the 5. Especially in these stronger trends. The 5-minute is the sailing ship. Follow its trend and wait for it to flip. I do like that approach. Now that we have a positive sloping delta on the 1, if we can get that signal to pull down here and tick up, and as long as the 1 is still rising and still strong at that point, I'll take that long. Remember what I said about the first higher low after a drop earlier? Looks like this would have been a good one too. It would have gone 63 points so far. The one I was talking about earlier was this one. There's your entry. And that one went 74 points total. I probably would not have held that long. I probably would have held it until that first tick down right here. But that still would have been a 40-point winner. It's still hard for me psychologically to take those for some reason. I don't know why, but they do seem to have a high win rate. It's not every high or low. It's only the first high or low after a drop, or the first lower high after an impulsive move up. JWA says GC short setting up here probably. It is getting up there near that 200. And that pivot line's right there. It did tick down from that upper power zone. Delta is under a falling confirmation line. So yeah, that's a short. I'm not trading gold, so I'm not going to take that, but that is a valid short. Yeah, I was going to say, NQ is about to set up the same thing right here. Keep in mind that ATR is still through the roof, so you might need a big stop on it. And here comes the tick down. It's kind of a big candle, though. I don't like shorting big candles. It's a good way to get stopped out quick. It's also still above the 8. So I'm going to wait on this one. See if it puts in a lower high. I'll take that one. Stealth trading 2 micros adds up with these big moves. Yeah, it certainly does. That's why I trade small. I don't know if I'm going to end up getting my lower high. The more aggressive move was definitely to just take that short. I should have done it. Oh, Schroden, sorry, I missed your question earlier. What makes the cumulative delta price line diverge from actual price? Meaning divergent lower low versus higher low. The signal line, honestly, I'm not sure how that is calculated, but maybe that's more of a question for Zeiierman. But yeah, the signal tracks the price action. The delta tracks the aggressive buyers versus aggressive sellers. Well, crap. I wish I would have taken that power zone tick down short. Anybody else take that? JWAS, did you get it? You know what threw me off there was this was a big candle, and then it got bought all the way up, and I was, I said I didn't want to short a big candle. So I said I was going to wait for a lower high, but then at the last minute, it got bought all the way up here, closed above the 8. And that kind of threw me off a little. I should have just taken that one. Man, she is dropping like it's hot. Ah, it would have been such a good one right here. Let's see how many points that is. 125. Well, Stealth hit a target. Good on you, Stealth. About to take out previous day low over here. Just sitting at 478.75. Stealth, do you mean that they're fat and not flat? Because yes, the delta candles on the 3 are fat. But I don't know what you mean if you mean they're flat. Yes, fat. Big fat deltas. Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw a circle on this one too, because I should have taken that, and I don't know why, but I didn't. That was a perfect short right there. Yeah, JWaz, I'd agree. We don't know how it's calculated, but I'd say it's the secret sauce to this indicator. It's kind of like, it's like a high-performance car. It's like, you don't really know exactly how it's working under the hood. All you know is it's fast and it works. So as long as it performs, I don't really question it too much. Luigi, no, the signal line is not an average. So the moving average of the delta candles is the confirmation line. That's this orange line here. That's the moving average of the delta. The signal follows the price action. And that's one of the things that makes this indicator unique to other cumulative delta indicators, is it has the price action component built in, which helps with the timing. I go into a lot more details about all of that in the playbook, if you're interested in checking that out. The link to download it is at the top of the screen. Well, I kind of feel like a dummy today because I'm leaving a lot of money on the table by passing those last two short setups. Still dropping like it's hot. Man, look at this thing. Just took out previous day low. Bitcoin too, straight down. The GC short played out. Oh yeah. There you go. That lower high would have been even better right here. Virtually no drawdown on that. Yeah, this is exactly what you want to look for. So for those that aren't familiar, we got a negative sloping confirmation line. So that tells you need to be looking for shorts. And what gives you the confidence behind these tick downs from that upper power zone is that the delta is still under the confirmation line when that happens. And you want to take advantage of that when the delta is weak. So the delta is, you see it starting to taper down to kind of a fine point right there on this lower tick down, or the lower high. That is the optimal short right there. So that's what allows you to pinpoint those entries. This works amazing as long as the price is moving. Where you're going to get in trouble are the days when the price is not moving and it's just going sideways, and there's going to be a lot of noise in here. But there's a way to filter those out, and if you can follow the filters and walk away when it tells you to, which is kind of hard to do sometimes, but as long as you can do that and focus on the days where price is moving like this, then you should do pretty good. Like I said, I'm kind of kicking myself because I have not been taking advantage of this today, and I should be. That short is still playing out. Not a single tick up yet. So if you're in there, that'd be 166 points just on this trade already. Yeah, just to add to that last little comment that I made on that, let's say, see here we have our falling delta, or I'm sorry, falling confirmation line. The delta's coming up. It starts to get weak right here. You get the tick down from that upper power zone. Like, that's beautiful. That's exactly how you want it. The case where that might not look so good is if the delta was like, say that it burned all the way up here into the red zone and then it ticked down. Like, that's not as good of a setup as this. Like back here, this is exactly that scenario. So we burned up and we ticked down. So that's not really, it's not in the power zone, which is why I initially did not take that. And then, but if if it never reaches the power zone and you keep getting these tick downs, so like a second one is better than that one, and as long as the delta is showing weakness here, see how it's weak, you want to take advantage of those. So that's why this one, because it's the second one and it never reached that upper power zone, but it's closer. The closer you can get to the power zone, the better. So, but even still, like this setup is not as good as this setup. This setup here is great because the delta is still under the confirmation line and it's still in the lower half. When the delta starts getting in the upper half, that's when it starts to get a little dicey. Yeah, JWAS, that's a filet mignon. For sure. Which is another reason why I'm kicking myself for not taking it. All right, I'm going to grab a refill. I'll be right back. Good trade. JWAS, did you say you took that or no? And if you did, are you still in? Ah, you missed it, just like me. Well, I guess that makes me feel a little better. We can both sit in the corner together. Yeah, ATR is still high. You know, it as much as that sucks, think of the potential reward though. I mean, with the high ATR, yeah, you can get stopped out easier, but you know, it when the setup is a good setup, like in this case, there's usually hardly any drawdown. It usually just goes. You know, the best trades just go right after it gives you the signal. So if it doesn't just go, usually you can exit out on the next tick for a relatively small loss. But look at the potential. I mean, if we would have caught that, that would have made up for lots of potential losses. I mean, right now you'd be up 190 points. You know, if you're using an 80 tick stop on that, it's a 9.6 risk to reward. All right, there's our first higher low after a drop. I'm going to try to take this one on the 8. Since the last two have been winners. And I just got picked up. Hopefully I don't regret this one. I am long at 21,440. With a tiny 80 tick stop. See if I could pull a quick 30 points out of it. 31.25. Go ahead and move to break even. Now we are risk off. Come on. It was like a tick away from taking me out. Can you do it? Just one little push. There you go. There's 31.25. Gotta love those 8 SMA entries. Getting in on a wick is how I prefer it. Looks like I could have squeezed a little more juice out of that one. That's okay. It's going against trend, so I like to keep a shorter leash on it. Yeah, G2, everything did align there. We had the tick up on the 5-minute, which I should, I said I was going to flip those according to the signal line. So I just flipped the 5 to bullish, even though I know we're not really bullish on there. But if we're going by the signal, we are bullish. So we're starting to tick up from the power zone on the 15 as well. So I'm going to flip that to bullish. I know it's not confirmed yet. What time is it? 9:55. It'll be confirmed in 5 minutes if that ticks up. So we had the 5-minute tick up, and we had the higher low print on the 1-minute after the drop. So like I said, the first higher low after a significant drop, it's usually a winner. That would be 3 for 3 today on those. Yeah, Schroden, I know it seems weird, but these higher time frames, keep in mind, like, the significance of that to the 1-minute. If you're trading the 1, you're dealing with a much shorter immediate time frame. So if you are ticked up on these higher time frames, you're putting in a move. Like right here. I mean, that's a significant move. So yes, I know the bird's eye view, we are not bullish. The bird's eye view is the confirmation line. But I'm just flipping those today to see if I can try to align trades more in line with the signal, because JWAS has been doing really well that way. So I'm just kind of experimenting a little bit. And you know how I talk about the confirmation line in the delta, like converging right here? That's where you want to look for longs. And that's what we have going on right now. And we have the delta above. We have the delta above the confirmation line now. So that is my signal to start looking for longs on the 1. So this, the other way to think about it is the scenario that we're in right now is pretty much the same as this scenario that we had earlier today before the big drop. We had our delta cross under the confirmation line. And so at that point, I said, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the signal to pull back up near the near that upper power zone, and ended up getting this one. Took that short. I missed this one. I missed that one. But now we're looking for the opposite. So now I'm waiting for the signal to come down here and tick up. I built a Tesla long that is in profits now. Oh yeah? How is Tesla doing with this drop? You're trading the 1 minute, right, on Tesla? I was gonna say, on the hourly on Tesla, that almost looks like a filet mignon for a short. But that's the hourly, so obviously you got some wiggle room. Oh yeah. Yeah, I knew that's what you meant. 2 times Tesla. The TSLT. The leveraged derivative. It reminds me of when I used to trade the Qs. TQQQ and SQQQ. I haven't traded those in a long time. Yeah, triple leveraged on those. Well, my 31 points I got out of this trade looks tiny compared to the move that it made. Looks like I should have just followed it to the first tick down. That would have got me a lot more. But like I said, I was going against trend, and better to be conservative and safe than sorry. Well, we're sitting here right on top of the 50. I'm assuming we're going to have another move down before move up. Got to get the timing right though. So if we put in a lower high from this power zone, I'll probably end up shorting that as long as the delta is weak. As long as the delta stays in that bottom half. I'm not going to take the first one only because the delta is above the confirmation line. Well, I'll tell you, I love the price movement today. These are the days that this strategy really shines. I'm kicking myself because I haven't taken advantage of it. I left so much on the table. But if the market would move like this every day, I would love it. Absolutely love it. Delta is getting really weak. It didn't quite put in a lower high, but there is that little speed bump in there, so it looks like you can almost interpret that as a lower high. We'd be rich, yeah. I know, if the market moved like this every day, I would absolutely kill it. I know that for a fact. It's those sideways chop days that still kind of get me. I just went short there on the 8. If we close above the 8, I'm going to pull it. I am short from 537.75. Now, because the delta is above the confirmation line, I'm actually more bullish right now. So, hold on a second. This is floating around my break even. Just trying to decide if I want to move to break even or not. And we are ticking up right there as well. Yep, looks like I'm probably going to lose this one. Come on, slam back down. 6 seconds. All right, I'm out. So, relatively small loss on that, 5 points. But like I was saying, I'm more bullish than bearish. So what I was going to say is I'm going to kind of keep a short leash on that one, but then it just popped against me right away. What was that? 5 points. This is also a bull flag breakout setup. We did get the tick up, so that is the entry there. But we've just been so bearish. The delta is fairly weak. We were negative right there, so I'm not all that interested in taking this one for a long. You know, it's like my loser earlier today right here. That was the same setup. Ended up fizzling out. I'd be more interested if this is a breakout fake out and puts in a lower high with the negative delta. Putting in that lower high right now. Delta is negative. Kind of a big candle though. I don't like those big candles. I'm going to do it anyways. All right, I am short. I need to be a little bit more aggressive, so 512.50 is where I'm in. Go ahead and move my stop to break even on this one, since we do have this. Oh, come on, don't do that already. And I'm out. Since it's still kind of a bull flag pattern, we did just take out that low. It could easily want to swing back up to the top, so that's why I moved to break even. I wanted to see more gusto to the downside. First break even of the day. And again, like I said, I am more bullish than I'm bearish at this point. So I should be looking for longs. I did not move to break even. It looks like my 80 tick stop would have got hit on that one, so that was a good move. Crypto's looking pretty ugly. We are getting a tick up from the green zone. Delta, I can't really see it, but it looks like it might be positive. Slightly positive for a second there. So this would be a long here. If we can get that tick up. All right, I just went long. I'm long at 21,519.75. And it's going to make me pay, isn't it? Hopefully not. Still good. Got the anchored VWAP up here at 606. Got another order block sitting here. Now we do have a negative sloping delta, so if we get a tick down, I'm going to pull the plug. Really liking how this is pulling back here on this. All right, I just pulled the plug. So looks like I'm out at 21,513. For a 6.75 point loss. Yeah, good point, JWaz. The signal on the 5 was pointed down, so I was trading against the 5-minute signal. Didn't work out. I also need to point out that we have a thin, choppy delta now. It is getting to be about 10:30. I don't know. Maybe we set into some chop here. Do I try it again? We're getting a tick up above the delta, which is usually pretty bullish. But these candles are huge, so I don't think I want to buy the candle close. Maybe the 8. Got a limit order sitting just above the 50 and the 8. Figures it would have to chop me out right before making its move. Yep, now the 5-minute is putting in a little bit of a delta squeeze. Looks like the close of that candle would have been just fine. Yeah, there's confluence between the 1 and the 5 on the higher lows. 5-minute delta is getting stronger. Now that the signal line's already in that upper power zone, I think I'm no longer interested in trying to pick up a long there. So I just canceled my order. And we did just take out that swing high, which means we have the potential to be forming a broadening formation. And if that's the case, then we can expect to take out this low. Potentially. Be interesting to see if it runs to where I was going to take profit before, which is right under this order block. After it chopped me out of my trade. We are getting a tick down from that upper power zone. Delta's rising, but it's fairly weak. Kind of feels like a long trap here. Missed the long. I'd like to wait for it to get to the lower part of the power zone. Stealth, yeah, as long as the delta continues to rise, if we can get a tick up from that lower power zone, I'll go long again. But so far, it looks like we're building a broadening formation here. We're going to take out this low. I said it felt like a long trap right there. This tick down from that upper power zone would have worked out. You would have been short right here. It's gone 55 points already, but if you target this low from there, that would have been 62 3/4. Candles are large and in charge today. Yes, they are. Yeah, ATR is still a 90, 91. It's come down a little. I'm going to try to short the 8 right there. I just got picked up on the 8. Better not chop me out. 21, 540, 25. We are getting a tick up from a very spotty delta. So it is like walking on thin ice here. If we close above the 8, I am pulling it. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to move to break even now. Just because we are ticking up above that rising delta, which is not a good scenario. So hopefully the bears can push her back down quick. This does go against the signal line on the 5. However, I do think we're going to take that low out. Yeah, 5 is chop on the delta right now. Very thin, spotty. No conviction either way. Which is why I want to take my profit and run here. There we go. So that's 47 and a quarter. That was the primary target. Secondary target would be this yellow line here. Or a tick up from that lower power zone. So if anybody is still in that, I would definitely exit on the power zone because this still is more bullish than bearish because we have the, overall we have a positive slope on the confirmation line. Delta is still above the confirmation line. So as long as that's true and we get a tick up from the lower power zone, that should be a long. And we did take out that swing low. So target hit. And so, yeah, this technically, might be able to redraw the broadening formation like that. Bouncing on previous day low. So if we do get a long here, the next target would be this high. Five-minute signal is still pointed up. The 15 looks like it's about to turn down. We are flashing a tick up from the power zone on the 1. ATR still high, so got to be careful about your entry if you do jump in here. I just snagged a long on this tiny little order block. Huh. At 501.25. That didn't even show up on this chart, did it? I'm literally on the end of this wick. On the TradingView chart, it doesn't even show up. Looks like it's a tick off, but on Quantower, it's there. Yeah, tick up from the lower power zone, but I try to get a better entry on it just because that ATR value is so high. So I'm trying to catch wicks if I can. So I put my order above this order block over. It's a tiny little order block, but usually you get a little bit better entry off that if you can. I got my stop at break even here. So hopefully we continue on up and take out that high. That's where my target is. But look at the delta, how nasty it looks right now. Very spotty and thin. Yeah, so reasons why I took that is because we have a rising confirmation line. The delta remained above the confirmation line when it ticked up from that power zone. And also because we took out that swing low. So the broadening formation, the target, the primary target was hit. So now, in my mind, it gives it permission to turn around and go back up and take out the other target, which is the red line at the top. So that's what I'm holding for. We can get there. Otherwise, it's going to take out my break even and not a big deal. Yeah, these candles are huge stealth. That's why I'm trying to be a little bit more picky with my entry points so that I can continue using an 80 tick stop. We did get a tick down from the red zone near the midline there, so I wouldn't be surprised if I get stopped out here at break even. And it hit me. So another break even on the books. So here's a little chop, and here's a little more chop. So 3 chop boxes in a short period of time is usually a good time to say goodbye. And it is getting to be lunchtime there, so I'm going to go ahead and call it here and just be done. I think I still had a pretty good day. 98.25 points. There might be more trades left here today. We'll see, but Jason Richardson, you're coming on just as I'm about to say goodbye. It's going well. I wish I left so much money on the table today. I missed this short right here. That was a perfect short. This was an even better setup. I missed that one. I left a lot on the table today, so I could have done a much better job, but I'm still walking away with 98 points, so I can't complain too much. So, yeah, good luck, guys. We will see you tomorrow. All right, take care.
It's like one of those big Delta candles. I mean, who even trades those tiny candles anymore? I like big fat candles, I can't deny. When the Delta's green and riding high, when a chart spikes thick with a bullish wick, I'm glued to my screen, that's the trick. I want to bounce quick, can't let it go. Big Delta bars, let that volume show. I'm zooming out, yeah, that's my groove. Catching waves in a Delta move. Wanna trade slow? Nah, too tame. This market's got heat, I'm in the game. Delta skinny, not my taste. Fat candles on my happy place. Oh, traders, let me see that line. When the buyers push, I feel just fine. It's the fat move, no squeeze fake. I'm in this trend with no break. Got entries stacking tall, no weak signals, I'm all in, y'all. Skinny candles just ain't for me. Big Delta's my golden key. Sitting tight while volume pops. Green wave up won't make me stop. Short candles, nope, they're a bore. Give me fat Deltas, I want more. Like those thick moves, yeah, yeah. I wanna break through. You know, don't you fold. Big Deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right. I like big fat candles, can't deny. When the volume surges up so high, skinny trades can take a seat. Big fat Deltas are what I be. Well, traders low, let me see that log is goes on my happy Delta. Skinny, not my taste. Fat candles on my happy place. Oh, traders, let me see that line. When the buyers push, I feel just fine. It's the fat move, no squeeze fake. I'm in this trend with no break. Got entries stacking tall, no weak signals, I'm all in, y'all. Skinny candles just ain't for me. Big Delta's my golden key. Big Delta's my golden key. Sitting tight while volume pops. Green wave up won't make me stop. Short candles, nope, they're aboard. Give me fat deltas, I want more. Like those big moves, yeah, wanna break through, you know. And hold and play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right. Like those thick moves, yeah, wanna break through, you know. Then hold and play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't